Hey, YouTube. I just thought I'd do a follow-up video. Uh, Making a little bit of fun with some of the tactics that I see going out on YouTube. And I think, we need to treat stuff like this pretty serious, guys. And, yeah, if you want to encourage people, I understand. Uh, but see, I wear this hat seriously. I went down to the Virgin Islands and bought this hat and talked with those indigenous people and earned the right to wear that hat down there before I even put it on my head. You know, and so if you're not a trucker, don't dress up as a trucker. If you're not a cop, don't dress up as a cop. If you're not military personnel, please do not impersonate military. Okay, I never had the honor to serve, and never had the honor to be a truck driver. And those guys work really hard, and I'd hate to see some of these guys fall into traps. To get themselves into trouble. And I have friends that are truckers, and I'll tell you what, they are not in the mood to strike. They're eating hand to mouth right now, and living paycheck to paycheck, paying $5 a gallon on average for their fuel. And as much as they would like to roll to a halt, uh, trucking is the only way we're getting stuff done around here nowadays, as far as stuff being moved. And I don't think they would do that to the American people. Now, you need to understand that a major city has an average of 3 days worth of food. Like New York has 3 days worth of food. After 3 days, you guys starve. You don't get food trucked in after 3 days, you starve. Not to mention dying of thirst. Okay, because you still need inputs to get the outputs going, and striking for 3 days isn't going to really result in much. I mean, you can withstand something like that. Well, anyway, with that said, like I said, we'll be changing some format. I want to have some fun, release a video like that. Let's make it some fun at Ray and a little bit. But, I like the stuff that she does on her own, and hope and encourage her to keep doing that. She's not in a position to be calling no trucker strike. Let me tell you what, union bosses are. All right. Call up a union boss, get something organized. They're not too happy with the Obama administration right now, not giving them that Obamacare exception. So, yeah, that's probably why they want to strike. Probably have nothing to do with keeping up the Constitution and Obama this and getting this corruption out. Corruption is that they didn't get the Obama exception, and they're not too happy about that. So, and another news piece I'll add in there. We'll talk about that Pakistani earthquake. Good work, Dutch Sense. Go over to his site, check it out. They had an island, a huge island, as a result of that earthquake. Okay, rise up out of the ocean. Okay, and this thing, I'm telling you, it's hundreds of meters high. I mean, and huge. I mean, this huge island just rose up out of the ocean off the coast there. So I guess it got some more real estate, but how sound it would be if it was created by an earthquake. It might just go right back down with one. So I don't think they'll be building any Hiltons out there anytime soon. But yes, an island was created by an earthquake. And as unusual as that may sound, very unusual from that happening, Edgar Cayce even said that the island of Atlantis would rise up out of the ocean due to some of these calamities or earthquakes phenomena on the earth. I'm not a big Edgar Cayce, but I mean, he points to that as a possibility, a phenomenon that happens. Okay, and a lot of people don't understand what happened during the Sumatra earthquake. Was that the whole ocean floor cracked up and collapsed? Probably more than that island jutted up out of the sea. Um, it looked like more of a reef that had come up. Sometimes reefs are not that far under the water. Anyway, so that area should be studied. But yeah, very, very unusual. Good work, Dutch, putting that up. I got that information from you. Yeah. So thought I'd check that out. It was a pretty good pick that they had on there. And I'm sure that you will probably hear more about that in the coming days, but probably be swept under the rug because really it's a telltale sign to what is really going on out there tectonically with every single volcano erupting that can erupt, except for the major earth changers, like, well, rumblings in Yellowstone. We had some up there, 4 pointers up near 5. And I tell you what, you start shaking at 6 to 7, and you know you got an eruption going to happen there. The reason why I know is it was around Mount St. Helens. Um, and that sucker blew. And there was rumblings, and they had warnings. And when that thing blew everything to heck, I mean, that's going to be a firecracker compared to what could happen in Yellowstone. And I have a little bit of theory about why BP happened when they down there drilling into an asphalt volcano. Maybe they were trying to relieve some sort of pressure, and that's why they plan to drill some more, because of the pressure that's building up, and they think they can relieve the pressure or control the disaster that's going to come, that I believe could even rip our whole country in two. Okay, we got that whole fault system going all the way down in the Gulf, all the way up to the Great Lakes, and up through Maine there too. And it's happened before, but what we have is sinking that's happening down in Louisiana with that giant sinkhole that's now spewing butane everywhere, laced with radium. And there's no cure for radium poisoning, ladies and gentlemen. And once you have it on you, you know, it's not like a kind of, because you breathe it in, really. And we get radon up here, and you get radon poisoning up here. That's why we have radon detectors up here in Iowa. It's but radium is different. This radium is coming from, I believe, the nuclear waste that they have stored at the bottom of this cavern. At the sidewall has collapsed and is collapsing, releasing the now butane laced with radium, and it's in the air. And they're not telling the folks, and you're relying on old Jindal's confirmation to make everything okay. And I'm telling you, you guys need to get. I mean, they're trying to make you get. Maybe that's part of it. Get away from the coast, because they know that something is going on with that volcano down there in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, and they still haven't cleaned up a drop of that oil. All that oil is still out there. Why do you think there's no hurricanes in the Gulf? That's why I want Dutch to answer, and suspicious observers, and any other geoengineer, weather modification buff out there can tell me, explain to me why there's been no hurricanes in the Gulf since the BP oil spill. None. I mean, it's been the one that's, you know, down at the Yucatan Peninsula, and they all hang out there and then go west over Mexico and out through Baja and into the Pacific, or they start in the Pacific, or they go up the East Coast, but nothing in the Gulf. And I told people when that spill happened, there'd be no hurricanes. And people, oh, yeah, right. 1 year went, no hurricanes. Another year went, no hurricanes. Another year went, no hurricanes. Still no hurricanes, because it'd be a toxic nightmare down there in the South of what that's got going on. Okay, even still in parts of New Orleans, they're wastelands, biological wastelands. Okay, because they had spills that happened, uh, biological spills, chemical warfare spills, biological warfare spills, all leaked out in the environment, getting all over America, even all over the world, because this stuff spreads. And there was a lot of people out there, and a lot of people got bust everywhere, and now this stuff is spreading everywhere. But the main source is right down there, you know. Places, the whole South down there is one big biohazard as far as I'm concerned, and they probably want people to move, and then they'll turn it into a big industrial zone and a big harbor after the disaster happens. They already got plans for that. You guys, these people plan 20 and 30 years in advance. They got satellites that track everything and image everything, and they know what's going on. I mean, they plan 20 years out. They're light years ahead of us, so hopefully we can get a clue and prepare ourselves. And we are responsible for ourselves. We don't be dependent on what the media is going to tell you, what the government's going to tell you. We got internet information out there. We can share it. We can rely on some of the professional information that we find out there. Uh, but we need true professionals out there. You're right. I'm tired of the corruption in the science community. I'm tired of the people that wanting to sell it and not tell it. I think information should be free, and we really need to put pressure on the mainstream media to get lost. Really, I mean, we're replacing with some different programming, because we're getting tired of seeing you in the morning. You're just a bunch of false prophets that are trying to tell us that everything is still okay when it's not. All right, and we see right through you, and we're getting really tired of you, and we're turning your channels and you watching retro TV before we watch what you spew out. So not even the sports are even fun anymore because you don't even cover sports that are worthwhile. The NFL's corrupt, you know, Major League is corrupt. Wrestling's being canceled by Olympics, so wrestling's going. That's why I disc golf or ball golf. Love both sports. And the end of the game where you play against yourself. And some games can have full contact. um, but yeah, I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to do a little this and a little that, and but still want to cover the local weather modification efforts that happen right here in DeSoto, Iowa, because this is the main corridor, the I-80-35 corridor, where they alter storms for the eastern part of the United States, so that Chicago and Ohio and Indiana and all those people can get their low pressure systems formed so they can get their rain too. And also check out my video about Fukushima and chemtrails too, about how they may mitigate radiation with weather systems. There's just all kinds of things that weather does for the planet, and if man is taking control of such weather, they could be in control of the whole process. You know, weather is a good thing, and God put those forces in play here, and we have this knowledge to modify it. I was watching a Dick Van Dyke, you know, because I didn't want to watch the news. I was watching Dick Van Dyke, and his kid was supposed to dress up as a thundercloud, and his mother got the costume wrong, but supposed to dress up as a thundercloud as a part of a play the science department was putting on for cloud seeding, and he was going to be a thundercloud, and the other ones are going to be drops of rain, and they're talking about cloud seeding back then with Dick Van Dyke. You know, I mean, it was in black and white. All right, now we have HD TV, and how far do you think they've come if they're weather modifying technologies? And a lot of it's done with directed energy and chemicals. And they want to take control of that whole process, people. And maybe they will. And they've learned to do it in some pretty unique ways. However, uh, why don't they tell you? Because they should be writing you a check. That's why. All right, they don't have permission to do this over your airspace, take your water away from you, your water rights. You know, the little guy, yeah, he's getting his water through a pipe, but you farmers are getting so gypped with this, you think that they are making it rain on you. Well, they're also making your crops dry up, too. You don't get yields and you get paid. The only person who really gets paid is the one with the seed. That's Monsanto. Okay? And they're going to control you to the very end until you say, no, I want good weather. I want good policy. Don't sell me a seed and then destroy me next year so you can put me further in debt. All right, the farmers don't fall for that. All right, demand good growing weather all the time. If they want to modify the weather, then make sure we got good radioactive free rain. Yeah, and or alert you to drought, and so you can plant the right seeds at the right time for the right reasons. You know, it's all these things that can be discussed, but not hidden behind closed doors, and a lot of people are suffering. Whole towns are being wiped out in the name of the sustainable development. That's what they call it, sustainable development. When Hurricane Sandy goes in and wipes out New York and New Jersey and the boardwalk and Coney Island, you know, all that stuff. You know, Hurricane Katrina going down and devastating the whole coastline, so the oil companies can come in and turn it into one big industrial zone. I mean, what do you think eventually in 20 years they will be growing out there in the Gulf because it's so polluted? Algae, right? It's business sense. The only time it makes sense is grow algae in a big area and scoop it up off the top. That's what they plan to do. I got all kinds of little tidbits of information like that, but it's always about, you know, taking advantage of somebody else's suffering. And I understand that making big money is solving big problems, but hopefully they have great benefits for, you know, not only the individual but humanity as well too, and not at the expense of so many good people. You know, this type of policy needs to change, and I hope it does. And we can't use weather as a weapon. Obama's out there talking about chemical weapons and these people should be penalized. Well, how about you, Obama? Should they then go and arrest you for allowing geoengineering on its own citizens? Should you be smart bond because, you're unleashing these chemicals in our atmosphere that are hurting economies, businesses, and people's lives? Look at Colorado, 400 miles of road plus washed away billions of dollars in damage. We had suffered $100 million in damage right here in central Iowa in a matter of 30 minutes. Yeah, what they call those job openings. So you guys can now go shopping. Well, I want my stuff back. I don't want a dollar bill. I don't want a FEMA payout. I don't want an insurance check. I want the insurance companies to start investigating these guys and changing policies so you guys don't have to pay out. My insurance is cheaper and I get to keep my stuff. I don't know how simple we need to make this. I've contacted the legislatures. They all know about it. I use SCIDR. They all know about it. They write the contracts for the natural resources boards for every state. So, check that out too. You can find weather modification on DNR. You can go down to Texas. They got it all on their website too about weather modifying. All right. So it's really in your face, but you really got to change policy because their policy behind closed doors is to destroy you, to make you go to Home Depot or to, go bankrupt on your yield on whatever you're planting or the feed that you have to feed your cattle or whatnot, the hay or feed or genetically modified this, or you need to now put another injection into your pork or whatnot. It's all of the ways at the expense of somebody else actually needs to change. We have enough problems on our plate that we can solve those and make those. You want to capitalize on those solve current problems. When humanity seems to have no more problems, let's not create more. But we're always going to have problems. I just don't get it. Well, I know this is a kind of a long video, but because some things are going to be changing on my channel, I just thought I would uh, put up a few good words. Ray, please, no offense, again, but honestly, with this, if you're going to be a truther, be comedic and be obviously comedic, or be seriously and obviously serious, because we're dealing with some very serious issues. This is no joke. And I love you guys, and I hope I don't lose any subs over this. But I will be still putting up the geoengineering and these events as I see they need inviting. Roy Potter put one out there. Go check him out. Try to keep on up to date with whatever he's doing. He's a good guy that gives some good advice. And he's had some problems with life like us all, but I think he's learned from them. Anyway, trying to make sure I'm not missing anything, so I'm not putting up a ton of videos. Like I said, this earthquake, there was a solar event that happened at the same time. So I'm looking at this. Go out to solarham.net and look at the charts. And right now, I went out there, ton of missing data. Oh, what the heck's going on? All the charts are off for an extended period of time. And even the LASCOs and the other imaging sites are also experiencing problems across the board. So it's not just the website. It is the actual source sites themselves that are experiencing some more data interruption. People are trying to call the censoring. I do not. I just think that some things are happening out there that these satellites are not designed to handle, so they have to reset and recalibrate, things like that. And but what's happening out there, they ain't telling you too much. So you'll see, and we are keeping on top of it, as y'all know. So keep up the good work out there, YouTubers. Love y'all, and see y'all soon.